Hello, I'm Christy Hawley, Superintendent of Tishomingo County School District. The district has come together to put together a video for our 8th grade parents and students as they make the transition from 8th grade to high school. We normally do this in a face-to-face setting, but due to COVID-19, we're being forced to do things a little bit differently in the education field. So we're excited to bring this video to you and hope that it helps answer any questions that you may have as your students make this transition from 8th grade to the all-important high school years. I know that you're probably excited, but also a little bit nervous about this transition. Let me assure you that we're here to help. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at my office or reach out to our high schools, both at Belmont or TCHS, and talk to the counselors or the administrators there. We're here to help. No question will go unanswered. We'll try our best to get those answers to you and to make sure that you're ready for this transition. So let's get started and talk a little bit about our district and sort of what we're about and our goals that may affect your students as we move into the high school years. Just know that together, our vision that we try to focus upon each and every day is to prepare our students to be productive citizens by ensuring excellence. We've been very fortunate in our district to have a successful school system for many, many years. So that excellence has continued to grow and expand in the different areas that we have in our district. So we're very fortunate to live in Tishomingo County and have a great school system for our students to attend each and every day. Our district focuses on specific goals. We have long-range planning, which is called a 5-year plan. We're coming to the end of our first 5-year plan and getting ready to actually start working on our second set of goals that will guide us for the next 5 years. But I wanted to touch base on a few of these because some of these will continue to impact your students in high school. Of course, our goal each and every day is to make sure that we have effective teachers and leaders at our schools. We also want to make sure that we're partnering with you as parents and our communities to provide opportunities for learning, not only inside the classroom but outside the classroom, and that our students have that support once they leave the school setting. We also want to make sure that our students have access to technology. As most of you know, we have a one-to-one iPad initiative in our district where grades 5 through 12 have iPads in use for each and every student. We hope to continue that initiative and expand that to K-4 eventually, because we feel like that is what is going to best prepare our students for the workforce and for college once they leave us. We always focus upon staff and student safety each and every day. We're very fortunate to have school resource officers in our district, and safety is of the utmost importance in everything that we do. We also want to make sure when a student comes into our district that they have every opportunity to earn a high school diploma and be a high school graduate, because we know that that's what's going to best prepare them for college and career. And then lastly, we've worked over the past few years and continue to work in the areas of improving pathways for our students to take accelerated courses, accelerated classes, and also have more extracurricular activities to choose from, whether that be clubs, different sports, different activities that our students can be involved in. We want to work together to make sure that we're providing all those opportunities for our students to make a well-rounded student when they leave us and go to the high school, leave us from high school and go to the workforce or to college. I'm going to talk to you today specifically about the different diploma options in the state of Mississippi. Let me first start by saying that we have one diploma in Mississippi. There's a traditional diploma that requires you to have specific things that are shown on the chart here on your screen. We're going to walk through this chart, and it will be the foundation for the next few slides that we talk about when we talk about the options of diploma in Mississippi. First, on the left-hand side, you'll see curriculum area. That's talking about just the basic areas that we have courses that our students are required to take. In the middle, you'll see Carnegie units. Sometimes those are called credits. These are the number of courses in that curriculum area that a student is required to take and pass. And then, of course, at the right-hand side, you'll see required subjects. So within that curriculum area, you have some specific classes that you have to take as a student that you're required to take and pass. So let's use English as an example. English is a common curricular area, and pretty much every district in the United States will make sure that you have a certain number of Carnegie units in this particular area. So for Mississippi, a student in the area of English has to have 4 Carnegie units. So they have to take 4 classes in the area of English and pass those classes in order to reach the required Carnegie unit total. Over here on the right, you'll see that a student must take English 1 and English 2. Beyond English 1 and English 2, they can take 2 other electives that are English-based in order to get the 4 required Carnegie units to meet the English requirement. You can see this pattern all the way through the different chart elements as we go down to the bottom. And at the bottom, you'll see that these numbers or Carnegie units add up to 24. So therefore, in Mississippi, to earn a traditional diploma, a student is required to have 24 Carnegie units and take these courses that are listed here in the different curriculum areas in order to meet the requirements for this diploma pathway. Also, please be advised that high school students have to take some exit exams. There will be an Algebra 1 test, an English 2 test, a Biology 1 test, and right now a U.S. History test. Students are required to pass those courses as well as pass those end-of-year assessments or meet some alternate pathways if they don't pass that test. So please keep that in mind, that there are some additional requirements that are not necessarily listed, but that are associated with some of these required areas that students will have to take a class. So this is the traditional diploma in the state of Mississippi. Now, Mississippi, several years ago, in addition to having a traditional diploma, has also allowed students to have an area of endorsement. So that means that students get a diploma in Mississippi, but then if a student is interested, they can also add an endorsement to their diploma. And with these endorsements are some different requirements that go above and beyond the traditional diploma, which only requires 24 credits. So one of those options of endorsement is the career and technical endorsement. So if we look at our curriculum area, our Carnegie units, and our required subjects, you'll see that those numbers look familiar from the last slide that we just exited from. But you'll notice as you go to the bottom that CTE electives are part of this endorsement. So that means if a student is interested in earning the Career and Technical endorsement, they must participate in our Career and Technical Center and focus on programming there in order to reach the requirements of this endorsement for the diploma. You'll also notice at the bottom that there's 2 additional Carnegie units required to earn this Career and Technical endorsement. So instead of 24, a student would have to have 26. There's also some additional things that we need to talk about here on the right. In order to get the traditional diploma with the Career and Technical endorsement, students must meet these other requirements as well. They must have an overall grade point average or GPA of 2.5 by the end of their high school career or at the end of their 12th grade year. They also have to take a test called the ACT Work Keys. This is a little bit different than what we consider the traditional ACT. This one is more workforce based. So students will be required to take this test, and they would have to score at a silver level in order to meet the requirement for the Career and Technical endorsement. We talked about the 26 credits that are also required. Besides these requirements, there's also one of these other requirements at the bottom that must be met. Students can take a CTE dual credit course through Northeast Mississippi Community College, and that is offered at our CTE Center. They could also complete an industry-based work experience or the Career Pathway Experience course at the Career and Technical Center. This is where students are allowed to have a job, and the instructor works with them and the actual employment opportunity to make sure that students are meeting the goals set forth by the employer as well as meeting the goals of the Career and Technical Center. And then lastly, a student could also earn a national credential. This is also sometimes called a national certification. Several of our programs at the Career and Technical Center have a credentialing test that students can take. This will actually be one that they can use immediately after high school to go and be employed and also begin work in the workforce in the area of study from the Career and Technical Center. This is an excellent endorsement for students who are interested in going straight to a career once they leave high school. But let me also say this is great for a student who wants to go straight to college. Many of our programs at the Career and Technical Center will prepare any student to be ready for college, university, and make that move into the workforce or career at whatever time they decide to exit, whether that be community college after 2 years or go on and get a 4-year degree at a university. This endorsement can be used for both of those, as well as going straight to the military or going straight to the workforce. This is an excellent endorsement area for our students to consider. All of our 8th graders went to the Career and Technical Center and were able to do a tour before the COVID-19 closures occurred. So please talk to your students about what they saw there, about the different programming. And also our director, Mr. Taylor, will be on this video later to talk about those specific programs and answer questions that you may have about our Career and Technical Center. Okay, our next area of diploma endorsement is called academic endorsement. So again, if you look at our chart, you see those familiar curriculum areas that we've already seen. You also see the required subjects as well as the Carnegie units in the middle. Notice at the bottom that this one as well requires 26 Carnegie units. But something a little bit different that you may notice is in the required subject areas. You also notice that there might be an increase in math, but there are some very specific requirements that are out here on the required subject areas of this chart. You have to have Algebra 1, but you also have to take 2 additional math courses above Algebra 1. That also applies to the science areas. And also, you're going to see a little bit different wording when you get to the elective areas. That'll be explained over here on the right. So this one is more of a academic-based concentration where students will take specific courses and maybe even at a higher level than some of the other traditional diploma pathways. So this one has some additional requirements that talk about GPA, but also about course selection. So the student must also, in order to have the academic endorsement added to their traditional diploma, have an overall GPA of 2.5. The courses that they select must meet the college prep curriculum requirements. This is something that your counselors will talk to you about. These are courses that most colleges want their students to have in high school in order to be prepared to enter the college setting. So counselors will help you and your student pick those courses over the course of your 4 years in high school to make sure that you meet those requirements. Also, there's an ACT requirement in order to get the academic endorsement added to your traditional diploma in your senior year. This is the traditional ACT that most of us are familiar with. Students must have a score of 17 in the English component and then a 19 on the math component in order to meet the requirement of having the academic endorsement. Also, we talked about the additional 2 Carnegie units to make 26. Students must also complete one of the following. They must take an AP course, which is an advanced placement course, and have a C or higher in that course and also take the exam associated with it. One of the other options discusses an IB course. Our district does not participate in this curriculum, so that would not be an option for a student in our district. But the last one is, and this is something that most of our students really try to take advantage of by the time they get to be juniors and seniors especially. They participate in a dual credit course through Northeast Mississippi Community College. So in essence, a student can enroll in one of these courses. They can meet the requirements of their diploma, but also meet the diploma, gain some college credit at the same time. The thing that the student has to have here is to have a C or higher in that course, and we're very blessed in our district to have teachers on our high school campuses that actually teach these college courses. So it's a great opportunity for our students, and we encourage our students to take dual credit courses if possible because it helps them after high school. So these are the requirements that are put forth in order to get a traditional diploma with the academic endorsement. And let me say this at this juncture as well. We've already talked about the traditional diploma. It has 24 credits. I also talked about the traditional diploma with the career and technical pathway or endorsement. And now we've talked about the traditional diploma with academic endorsement. Just because you want to focus on one or the other, for example, if I'm a career and technical endorsement student, that's what I'm trying to get. That does not mean that I can't take college prep courses when I get back to the high school. These things work together, and your counselors will work with you to make sure that you're getting the courses that you want. And it's actually quite possible for a student to earn 2 endorsement areas. You could be an academic endorsement area and be going to the Career and Technical Center and also meet the requirements of that endorsement as well. So it's very doable with students being on the block. Also, most of your students, when they leave 8th grade, have 5 high school credits under their belt. They'll have a PE credit, they'll have a Mississippi Studies and Geography credit, they have 2 credits under the technology courses that they took in 7th and 8th grade, and then they also have an 8th grade math credit. So most of our students are coming into high school with 5 credits, so it's very doable that students can reach the credit requirement as well as those academic course requirements and career and technical requirements with both of these endorsements that we've already talked about. Okay, let me see if I can get there we go. The last endorsement area is called Traditional Diploma with Distinguished Endorsement. This one is sort of what I would consider to be the highest academic endorsement that you can get in Mississippi. If you look at our chart that we've been looking at on the other slides, you will see immediately that the Carnegie unit total has gone up in the first 4 areas. Of course, 4 years of English or 4 specific Carnegie units, I should say, of English is going to be required. The math requirement is there, and again, the 2 additional math courses above Algebra 1 is a requirement. You also have the same science requirement as we did on the academic endorsement. But here we also have an additional social studies course that's going to be required for students. If you come down to the bottom, you're going to see that those electives that we talked about have increased in number, but also they have to meet the elective requirements set forth to meet the college prep curriculum set forth by the state. So when you look at the bottom, we have 28 total credits for a distinguished endorsement. Also, if you look to the side, you're going to see the other additional requirements that are set forth in Mississippi for this endorsement. Instead of a 2.5, you have to have a 3.0 as your final GPA to get the distinguished endorsement. Also, that course requirement to meet the college prep curriculum, those recommendations have to be met. And then you're going to see the ACT score actually increases as well. So the sub-scores of 18 in English and then 22 in math will have to be on the ACT score of a student in order to reach the distinguished endorsement of this diploma pathway. Also, you're going to see the same different options for one of these having to be completed for a student to get this endorsement, but you're going to notice that these have increased as far as rigor. They do have the opportunity to take an AP course, but instead of a C, they have to have a B and also take that exam. The IB course we talked about is not offered in our district. And again, dual credit is mentioned here. That works through Northeast Mississippi Community College, but instead of a C, you have to have a B. So again, this is a very doable curriculum with students coming in with 5 credits. And especially us being on a block in the high school, students have plenty of opportunity to get these 28 credits and reach the highest endorsement level that's offered by the state of Mississippi, which is the traditional diploma with distinguished endorsement. Now let me stop and say this about these different diploma pathways. They're all Mississippi diplomas. The only difference is that you will have an endorsement if you meet the things that we've talked about with the requirements and the required subjects listed out about these endorsements. The traditional diploma is fine. But we want you to push yourself and try to reach one of these endorsements. That's why when you fill out your ninth grade pre-registration forms, it's going to make you declare what endorsement you would like to work toward. So this needs to be a discussion that parents and students have together and set forth a plan on what endorsement you would like to reach by the time you get to be a senior and get ready to graduate. That is going to be required. You can't pick just a traditional diploma to begin as a freshman. You have to pick an endorsement area, and your counselors can help you make that decision as well if you have any kinds of questions that may need to be answered before you make that decision. All right, the last thing I'm going to talk to you about are some additional requirements for the traditional diploma. Most of the seniors that your students have talked to, or maybe you've come in contact with, may have talked to you about early release. What that is in our district and also in our state is that students usually by their senior year have met the requirements of either the 24 credits or the 26 credits, and some even the 28 credits needed to reach the endorsement area for their diploma. However, Mississippi has recommendations that must be followed in order for a student to qualify to leave school early. We have students that leave school to go to jobs. They may actually be going to community college and earning college credit. So there's different ways that students can really use that early release to help them as they get prepared to go to the workforce or to college. So let's look at number one. If you have not met the ACT benchmarks of having a 17 on the English part of the ACT, or a 19 on the math part of the ACT, or you have not scored at the silver level on ACT work keys, then you have to meet all 4 of the following requirements in order to get early release as a senior. You have to have the required 2.5 GPA. You also have to have passed or met all of your assessments that are required for graduation. Those are the ones that I talked to you about earlier, the Algebra 1 test, the Biology 1 test, English 2, and U.S. History. Your student will have to have met all the passing requirements for those tests in order to qualify for early release if they don't have the ACT required score. They also have to be on track to meet their diploma requirements. And also, they have to be enrolled in Essentials for College Math or Essentials for College Literacy. Those are required courses for students to take before they leave high school. So if you don't have the ACT score of a 17 in English or a 19 in math, you have to meet all 4 of those bullet points in order to qualify to be an early release senior. Also, I just talked to you about this. All incoming 9th graders have to select an endorsement in order to get their pre-registration process begun. But parents, let's say that students start out with saying, I'm going to be a distinguished endorsement. But then they decide that, hey, maybe I want to go to the career and technical endorsement. The only one who can change that endorsement area would be the parent. So parents, you would have to come to the school, talk to the counselor, and sign some forms in order for that endorsement to be changed. So these are the requirements for diplomas in Mississippi. I believe next, Mr. Taylor is going to talk to you about the Career and Technical Center, and our counselors are going to talk to you about the different requirements and needs for your registration packet. And I know our administrators will also be talking to you as well about the expectations of high school. I look forward to working with you and seeing what great things you and your students accomplish over the next 4 years. And always remember, we're here to help and here to support. Thanks.
Hello everyone, welcome to the 8th grade transition video. We appreciate you taking the time to view this video and to find out a little bit more about Tishomingo County Career and Technical Center. I want to share some information with you about our campus, about our programs and what we offer to 9th graders. We have 12 programs on our campus, and all of our programs are very strenuous. They have rigor and standards that come from the business and industry side. So they are designed to help your students and our students pursue either a career or a college degree, regardless of what program they take. Our programs are designed so that they align with all of the diploma endorsements that are currently offered in the state of Mississippi. We pride ourselves on helping students get ready to go directly from high school into a career that can help them earn a living. And then we also pride ourselves on holding those students to higher academic standards so that if they choose to go to college, that they will be prepared to enter those college classrooms and be able to be successful. Our programs here are technical, they're skill-based, and will help your students gain skills that no one will ever be able to take away from them. One thing many people do not realize about career and technical programs is that even though some people may look down on them, these programs are designed and developed at minimum grade level 13, which means that they're being taught on a college level in high school. Your children will learn skills that will help them be ready to move into the workforce or go straight to college. We have a lot of students that go directly to work and remain in the industry until they get ready to retire. We have other students that go directly to work and then at a point later in their life return to college. We also have students that go directly into the workforce and work themselves through college, being able to pay for that using the skills that we've taught them. In the past, we had some requirements for ninth graders to get into some of our programs. We had 3 programs that were open to ninth graders regardless, as long as they were in good academic standing. And those were AEST, Information Technology, and Drafting. Last year and the years before, we required that every student submit 2 letters of recommendation from their middle school teachers, a letter of recommendation from their middle school principal, obtain approval from myself and our counselors, and meet program-specific requirements. In light of the pandemic and everything that has happened in education since then, we have amended our entrance requirements for ninth graders for the 2021 school year. We have dropped the requirement that students have to have 2 letters of recommendation from their middle school teachers, and we have dropped the requirement that they have to have a letter of recommendation from their middle school principals. Instead, those middle school principals and the middle school counselors will make a recommendation to the high school counselors, who will then pass that recommendation along to me and my counselors here at the Career and Technical Center, and we will judge those, look at those recommendations, look at the students' academic background in middle school, and also their discipline record and their attendance record. If they meet program-specific requirements and meet all of the approval of the middle school principal, counselor, the CTE director, and the CTE counselor, then they will be admitted to our programs. This will hopefully help streamline the process. It does not require that the student do anything at this point. Programs that we have on our campus that students may be interested in: agriculture and environmental science technology, agriculture power and equipment, collision repair technology, culinary arts, architectural design and drafting, engineering and robotics, industrial maintenance, teacher academy, welding, information technology, and law and public safety. As I said earlier, we have 12 programs on our campus. There are only 11 listed here. These are the programs that are open to ninth graders. The one program not listed is health sciences, because that program requires that the students be sophomores. And the reason for that requirement is in the second year of health sciences, students have to have a valid driver's license, a mode of transportation, and current insurance to be able to travel to their clinicals. With that being said, we still hold that program to 10th grade and above. We have fantastic teachers in all of these programs. I think, in my opinion, we have the best career and technical center in the state, and the best career and technical teachers in the state, and the best career and technical students in the state. Our programs are consistently ranked in the top 10 in the state. Most, if not all of them, have been ranked number 1 at some point within the last 5 years. So I hope that you will look at this and give your child an opportunity to come to the Career and Technical Center. I can promise you that regardless of what career pathway your child is looking at, what they're interested in, we have a program on our campus that will help your child achieve their career goals. We also have student organizations that allow the students to interact with each other and with other school districts and compete against each other using the skills that they learn in our programs. We have Skills USA, which provides the student organization to the majority of our programs, with the exception of health sciences and agriculture. HOSA serves the health science students, and the National Technical Honor Society is open to all students on our campus, and it goes along the same lines as Beta. There are certain requirements that have to be met before the students will be invited to join the National Technical Honor Society. And then we have the FFA, which serves our agriculture classes, AEST and Agriculture, Power, and Machinery. Here you have our contact information. Please feel free to contact us with any questions, or if you'd just like to discuss one of our programs to find out what we offer for your student. We're available at the school through the phone, 438-6689. Feel free to email me or one of our counselors if you'd like to communicate that way. Our website is careertech.tcsk12.com, or you can go to the school district's website and click on the link there. I hope that you will give some serious thought to allowing your child to come to the Career and Technical Center. Most of the time when we have students that don't come to see us until they're seniors, they really regret it. They wish they had been able to be on the Career and Technical Center campus more than 1 year. Most of the students that we have that come here really thoroughly enjoy it, and I hope you will give your ninth grader the opportunity to enjoy it as well. Again, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us. We'd love to discuss this with you. I thank you for your time, and I hope you have a blessed day.
Hey, my name is Tiffany Lowry. I am one of the counselors at Tishomingo County High School, and normally I would get to meet you in one of your 8th grade classes and get to talk to you about all of the stuff that goes on at the high school and course selections and things like that, but we're having to do this via video, so we're going to make the best out of this situation. We're going to go through some slides and talk about some of the things that Miss Holly has talked about. I'll just briefly talk about that, but we'll also talk about course selection and some other things as well. One of the first things that we're going to have to do when you fill out some information for us is to tell us what endorsement option that you're interested in. Miss Holly went over that in her presentation, but for every entering 9th grader, we have to enter in the computer what endorsement option that you've selected, whether it be the career and technical endorsement, the academic endorsement, or the distinguished academic endorsement. And I know Ms. Holly has already gone over those requirements, so I'm just going to briefly put this up here for just a minute. She did mention how many credits the career and technical endorsement was. It was 26 with these required courses for that curriculum plus those additional requirements. And then the academic endorsement, that is also a 26 credit diploma with the required curriculum and those additional requirements. And then the distinguished academic is the 28 credit diploma with all of those additional requirements over there. So if you need to go back and pause the video and look at some things to see which one you're more interested in, you can do that. I think most of you kind of know what already credits are. Ms. Holly referred to them also as Carnegie units. You do have 5 credits from the middle school if you were at one of our feeder schools, Burnsville, Ayuka, or Tishomingo. So if you passed all of those, you've already received 5 credits. 1 from Cyber Foundations 1, 1 from Cyber Foundations 2. You got a credit in 8th grade math, and then you got a half a credit for Mississippi Studies and a half a credit for Geography. To give you 1 total credit for social studies, and then you took probably either PE or band, and that will count as a PE credit. So most of you are already bringing 5 credits with you. When you take a semester-long class with us here, we're going to talk about block scheduling here in just a minute because that's going to be different from what you're used to. 1 semester-long class is 1 credit. If you're in a year-long class here, that's 2 credits, and then if you're in a half a semester class, which is 9 weeks, it's a half a credit class. Miss Holly also mentioned something called a GPA, and so I'm just going to briefly talk about that just for a minute so you know what that is. And then we'll, once you get here on campus, we'll come into some of your classrooms and talk further about what a GPA is and some other things like that. But just since it's one of the graduation requirements, I just wanted to kind of talk to you about that for a second. What's a GPA? Whenever you are issued a grade, you are actually assigned a number at the end of the course. For every A you earn in a 1-credit class, you get 4 points. Sometimes that's called a quality point. For a B, you get 3 points. For a C, you get 2 points. A D is 1 point. You don't get any points for an F. So the way to calculate a GPA is you're going to take the total points that you earned and divide it by the total credits that you attempted. Okay, so I've got an example on this next slide. All right, let's say that these were your classes that you took for the first year here. And it looks like you got 3 B's, 4 A's. Now I want you to look, this culinary arts class, and we'll talk about this in a little bit too, that's a year-long class that can be taken at the Career and Tech Center. It's a year-long class, so it's worth 2 credits. All of these other classes up here are each worth 1 credit. So let me show you how this calculation works. And I know this looks like a bunch of math and you don't even want to think about math right now, but I want you to know how this is calculated. Okay, so in biology, this student got a B. So a B is worth 3 points. It's a 1-credit class, so 3 points were earned there. ECS, we're going to talk about that class in just a minute. That class was an A, so 4 points, 1-credit class, 4 points earned. Foundations of Biology, that was a B, so 3 points, 3 times 1, 3 points for that class. Algebra 1 was a B, so 3 times 1 credit for that class, 3 points. World History, an A in that class, so 4 points. It's a semester class, so 1 credit, 4 points earned. English 1, that was an A, 4 points, 1 credit, 4 points earned. Now, Culinary Arts, taught at the Career Tech Center, year-long class, it's 2 credits. You got an A in that class, so 4 points times 2 gives you 8 quality points. All right, so then you're going to add up all of these points that were earned, so 29 points earned divided by 8 total credits, and that would give someone a 3.625. You've heard of someone saying that they graduated high school with a 4.0. That means that they kept A's throughout high school their entire time, okay? So this kind of just, it will transfer the alpha grades over to like a numeric code, so it can tell you your GPA. But let me tell you one thing that's also very important in high school too. The way that we will rank students and what we really look at when we name honor students and things like that, and I know it's not as important to you as a 9th grader, but you need to be aware of it. We look at your GPA on the 100 scale. So you can earn up to 100, sometimes 105 if it's a weighted class or an honors class. So the way that we calculate like valedictorian is the student who has the highest average based on the 100 scale, because we may have several students who have a 4.0, so we need to look at it on a different scale, and it's highly unlikely that someone is going to have the same GPA on the 100-point scale. So just be aware of that. But this is one way to calculate GPA when we look at your graduation requirements, because that's how the endorsements are listed over there on the side. They want to make sure that you either have the 2.5 or the 3.0 GPA. So this is a way to calculate it just for a year. That was a simple way to do it. There's a little bit more to it. When you have more classes, of course, you have more calculations, but that just kind of gives you a ballpark example of how to calculate a GPA and what it actually is. So a little math lesson for you there too. Okay, now what is block scheduling? Y'all are used to probably 7 periods, I'm guessing. So you're in class for maybe about 45, 50 minutes. Well, on block scheduling, what we do is we have 4 classes all day long instead of 7. This is kind of what your schedule would look like for a year. You'll have 4 classes first semester, so from August until Christmas, and then second semester you'll have 4 classes. From January until May. So that's what a block schedule looks like. And each class is 90 to 94 minutes long. So you're in there for quite a while. But it gives you the chance to earn 8 credits or 8 Carnegie units each year. Okay? Now we're going to talk about some course selections, because I know this is one of the things that y'all are really, really worried about. The way that we are going to place you in your course subjects, your math and your science, we're going to look at your class averages from 8th grade, probably 7th grade too. and look at some 7th grade test scores. So you don't have to select what math you want to go into or what science you want to go into. We're going to look at some grades and we're going to place you where it's a best fit for you. Some of the math classes that you might be placed in this year. Your first semester, you might be put in Ready for High School Math or Foundations of Algebra. Some of you may go right into Algebra 1, depending on grades and test scores and things. But don't worry, we're going to look at some criteria and place you where you need to be in math. Some of you may take Foundations of Algebra in the first semester, and you may have Algebra 1 in the second semester. So you may go ahead and get 2 math credits this year. Okay. English 1, pretty much no choice. Everybody's going to take English 1 this year as a 9th grader. And notice it's English 1 because you take English 1 as a 9th grader, English 2 as a 10th grader, English 3 would be for 11th graders, English 4 for seniors. Just letting you know that. In science, this is where we'll also look at some scores and some grades. You may have Foundations of Biology or you may have Biology as your first science. It just depends on what the grades and the test scores look like. Now, with social studies, most of you are already bringing that Mississippi Studies and Geography credit with you. So if you've already got that, you've already got 1 credit towards the social studies requirement. If you have room in your schedule, we'll put you in World History, or if you don't have room, we won't make you take World History this year. Everyone will have to take World History, but if your schedule does not really have room for it this year, that's not a big deal because you're already bringing 1 social studies credit with you. So if you get a schedule and you say, oh my goodness, I don't have a social studies, that's okay because you could actually have 1 year without a social studies since you're bringing 1 credit with you. If you do have room on your schedule, we'll go ahead and put you in World History. If not, you can take it as a 10th grader, and that's no problem there. If you have room on your schedule, we also put you in Exploring Computer Science. That's a tech credit. Yes, you already do have technology credits for Cyber Foundations 1 and Cyber Foundations 2. This is kind of like the 3rd component to that. Exploring Computer Science does a lot with coding and robots and things of that nature. Ms. Hammond does a really great job with that class. So if you have room in your schedule, we put all of our 9th graders in Exploring Computer Science. This is where you have a little bit of choice and where you'll have input on what you're going to have on your schedule. If you play sports, these are the sports that are actually have a block during the day. If you play basketball, football, baseball, fast pitch softball, or cheer dance, these are going to be things that we have blocks for during the day. And I'm going to tell you how you're going to enter that on a Google form so I can know where to place you for your schedule. But these are the ones that will have a block during the day. If it's not listed on here, if it's something like powerlifting or volleyball, that's going to be an after-school sport. Okay, our career and tech classes. Mr. Taylor is also doing a video component talking about the career and tech classes. You went to the Career and Tech Center and took a tour there. So you've already been to see all of these programs over there. Remember that there are certain criteria that you have to meet to be able to go into some of these programs as a 9th grader, so just keep that in mind. But I do want to tell you that some of these programs do offer academic credits. Engineering, if you take 2 years of engineering, you get 2 elective credits and then you get 2 science credits. So some of these classes actually offer some academic credits as well as elective credits, so keep that in mind. And these classes are also the year-long classes, and they take up 2 blocks. The career tech classes, they are the first-year classes are taught 1st and 3rd blocks. So if you're in a first-year program, you'll either go to the Career and Tech Center 1st block or 3rd block. All of the second-year programs, they're all 2nd block. Okay, these are some electives that you can choose from as 9th graders. I know it looks like there aren't a lot, but as a 9th grader, honestly, we're trying to put you in some of your foundations classes, and we're making sure that you get a lot of your core classes out of the way first. Tech Foundations is going to be an introduction to technology. Business Fundamentals is going to be the basics to business. Music Appreciation is an art credit, and it is going to be over a general survey of music. Chorus and art, those are also art credits, and you'll notice everyone has to have an art credit. So those are 3 different classes there that you could get an art credit from. Family Dynamics and Nutrition and Wellness. That's one of our elective classes that we allow ninth graders to take, along with creative writing and public speaking. Okay, now here is our bell schedule, and I told you we have 4 different blocks, so your 4 different classes. So first block starts at 7:50 and it's over at 9:24. Then you have a break until 9:34. Second block starts at 9:38, so you'll notice you've got 4 minutes to get from break to your class, and I know you're thinking that's not a lot of time, but it really is once you know where you're going. Third block starts at 11:16 and goes to 1:16, and I know that looks like it lasts forever, but we have 3 different lunch waves depending on what class you're in. Third block as to what lunch you'll go to. Then you have a short break after third block, and then fourth block is actually 1:30 to 3 o'clock. And this will be the same bell schedule first semester and second semester. Let's look. Okay, so I have done just a couple different examples of what a block schedule could look like depending on what you're going to take. So let's say the first student here takes Foundations of Algebra, Biology, World History, Football, first semester. Second semester, the student has ECS. And look, there's Algebra 1 because I told you some of you are going to have Foundations of Algebra first semester, followed up with Algebra 1 second semester, and that's really good because that's going to get you ready for that Algebra 1 state test. English 1, because I said all of our ninth graders will take English 1. And then football. Football will be 2 credits, or actually you get 1 credit in the fall, 1 credit in the spring for football, so it will last year long. Here's a student at the bottom who is going to the Career Tech Center taking engineering first block. And notice it does last all year long. Second block in first semester, Foundations of Biology, followed by Algebra 1 and then ECS. Second semester, same thing, first block since it's a year-long class. Followed with biology. Biology following Foundations of Biology is a great way to get you ready for that biology state test. And then English 1 and World History. So those are just 2 examples of what a schedule could look like on block schedule, and I think I've got one more. Here's one, Algebra 1, first semester, Foundations of Biology. IT is Information Technology taught at the Career Tech Center, followed with band. And if you'll notice, band is a first semester and second semester activity. And then English 1 and biology. Now notice on this one, there's no world history. That's okay. The student can get caught up, or not actually caught up, can take world history 10th grade. It's not a big deal if you don't get a social studies credit your 9th grade year, since you already have that one. So this student is able to fit in the Career Tech Center and band, or you can fit in the Career Tech Center and a sport. So it's doable. Okay, Mississippi Scholars. If you've ever been to one of our graduation ceremonies, you've noticed some of our students wearing a medallion. Mississippi Scholars and Mississippi Tech Masters is just a way to signify that you have met a certain curriculum and met certain guidelines. These are some of the guidelines here. For your class and the class that's a year older than you, they require a minimum of 80 hours of community service. That's over the course of your grades 9 through 12. You have to have a minimum of 18 on the ACT, minimum GPA of 2.5, and this is what gets a lot of people, the 95% attendance. That means you can't miss any more than 36 days from the 9th through the 12th grade. So we go back and we check attendance from 9th grade until the time that we stop counting before we have the banquet for Mississippi Scholars and Tech Masters. That's on into the spring of the senior year. No more than 36 absences throughout your high school years. No out-of-school suspensions, and you have to meet the curriculum requirements, and that's on the next couple slides. This is the Mississippi Scholars, and it's close to the diploma requirements anyway. You've got 4 English credits. I do want to point out on the math that you will have to go through Algebra 2 plus 1 more, so that would mean Algebra 3, or we have another math class called SREB, or Essentials of College Math. So you have to have Algebra 2 plus 1 above that. 4 credits of science, biology, chemistry, and then 2 above biology. Anything other than foundations is going to count as a science above biology from what we offer here. Your 4 social studies are the 4 social studies that we offer. 1 art credit, and then 2 advanced electives that can be 2 foreign languages, so like Spanish 1 and Spanish 2, or you could take some extra math or extra science, or 2 dual credit courses, as long as they are not counting for something else. You can't take dual credit English composition 1 and 2 and use it as an English and also say it's your advanced elective. You can't double dip into areas like that. And I talked about the additional requirements on the other screen. Now, the difference in a Mississippi Scholar and a Tech Master is a Tech Master has taken 2 years of the same program at the Career and Tech Center. Still, and the curriculum requirements are just a little bit different. 4 English credits. The math, you only have to go through geometry and have 3 math credits, 3 science credits, and only 2 have to be above biology, 3 social studies credits. Still have to have a computer credit, half credit health or PE. You have to have the requirements in the area of study for the Career and Tech program, and those are the additional requirements over there. There's a website if you want to look at that curriculum just a little bit more closely. All right, so some things to keep in mind. If you already know where you are going after you finish high school, you need to start looking at their admission requirements. If you know you want to go to State or Ole Miss or somewhere like that, look and see what they want for their entering freshmen to have. They may want you to have a foreign language. They may want you to have advanced world geography. They may want you to have something specific. So look at that. What we are interested in as high school counselors right now is to make sure that you meet graduation requirements. I don't know all of the college admission requirements off the top of my head because, first of all, they change, and each college is just a little bit different as well. So make sure that you're paying attention to a certain college if you are interested in going there. Northeast will accept any of the diploma endorsements, so don't worry about that. But if you are going somewhere like straight to a university, make sure you are checking their admission requirements every time that you register for courses here. The way that we're going to enter your course request that you want is you're going to enter that on a Google form. I'm going to show you that at the end of the presentation, but it is going to be due no later than June the 19th. June the 19th, we're going to cut it off, and we'll just place the student in classes. So you've got until June the 19th, so you've got plenty of time to enter those in. Sorry, Mr. Howell. It's just going to be a couple of clicks. You want to pop into my video? You may have seen Mr. Howell. You may not have by now. Here comes Mr. Howell.
Hello.
Okay.
This
is my video for the incoming 9th graders.
We're doing my video tomorrow.
Okay. I'm going to finish mine up.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay, so if you'll have your course request entered by June the 19th, that's great. Then we're going to turn it off. You don't have that many choices, and I'm not saying that to burst your bubble or anything, but you just don't have a lot of choices as 9th graders because we're going to place you in those core subjects. Okay, now this is super important. I need all of you, if you have not, I have a mistake up there, dang it. The remind code for your class, y'all are the class of 2024. I forgot to correct that. If you'll text the number 81010 and let this be your code at 24TC, this is how we send all of our information, especially since we've been out of school and not been able to communicate with our students and see them daily. This is how we have sent information. This will follow you through until you are a senior. This is how I send information to the seniors who are graduating now. They're the class of 2020. So I send them information about graduation practices, the graduation parade that we had. This is how they get all of their information. So please make sure that you have signed up for this remind. You've probably gotten something in the mail already about online registration. It's going to be done through your active parent account, so make sure that you've created an active parent account and you are doing that online registration. It takes just a couple steps, a couple minutes. You upload a form this year if your residency has not changed. If it has changed, you are allowed to upload those residency proofs this way. The information was sent with the report cards, and all of that must be completed by Friday, June the 19th, the same deadline as the Google form. Okay, we're here to help. If you've got any questions, please email. You can email me. This is my email here, or you can email our other counselor, Mr. Nunley, if you've got any questions. We have answered lots and lots and lots of questions. We know that this is all new to you. We don't want you to be overwhelmed. We know you didn't get to do a tour this year. We'd love to be able to do a tour with you maybe when we have schedules ready. Last year we did kind of like a freshman orientation before classes started, so hopefully we can do something like that. But I've already got some ideas if we don't get to of what we can do to kind of ease your nerves and things like that, because I know you can be a little stressed out about this. I'm going to show you the Google form. It's going to be sent to your email. Simple form. This is how I did it for the other grades as well. You are going to get this invitation in your email. All you've got to do is type your first, middle, and last name on there. You're going to tell me which endorsement area you're choosing, and you're going to tell me which school you're coming from, just in case I need some help identifying where to look at your former grades, things like that. Then you're going to tell me what activities you want to participate in, so I know to schedule you for football or cheer or something like that. And remember, if it's not listed here, it's an after-school sport. Then I need to know if you are interested in any of the career tech classes, so you just check those. And then I need you to tell me 2 classes down here that you're interested in. Now, don't be upset if you don't get in both of them. Don't be upset if your classes are just full of science, English, history, math, stuff like that. You're going to have plenty of time in your 4 years to get in all of the electives that you want. A lot of you I know are probably going to be interested in this one class, driver's ed. Everyone's always interested in that, but driver's ed usually fills up because we start scheduling from the top down, from seniors down to 9th graders. 9th graders just usually don't even have room in their schedule. You have to have a permit before you take it. And driver's ed is a perfect class to pair with health. Health is a 9-week class, just like driver's ed is. So you can pair driver's ed and health together, and that's a perfect semester class right there for you when you put those 2 together. So that's not listed on there. That's a great 10th grade class to take, driver's ed and health together. Okay, so that's your Google form. That's going to be sent out to your email. So after you've watched this video, go ahead and fill out that Google form. You've got our emails, so please just communicate with us that way. I check my email even if I'm not at work at least 1 or 2 times a day. So just let us know if we can do anything for you.
Hello, I'm Pete Howell, principal of Tishomingo County High School, and I'd like to take a moment to welcome you, the incoming freshman class, to Tishomingo County High School. While at Tishomingo County High School, you're going to have to navigate the multiple buildings here at TC. So over the next few minutes, I'd like to take that time and acquaint you with some of the things we have here at Tishomingo County High School. So freshmen, whether you're a bus rider or a car rider, when you come to school in the morning, the main building that you'll be using is what we refer to as A building. It's where the office and most of the academic classrooms are. So let's go take a look. When you first enter, the offices will be to your left. On bottom floor of A building, you'll have the library, which is behind me, and most of the social studies classes that are taught here at TC. You'll also have the nurse's office. As you want to go upstairs, you'll have 2 ways, the stairwell or the elevator. The elevator is only for faculty members or students with disabilities or special needs. When you first come off the stairs, to your right will be the counselor's office. Also, as you go down the hallway, you'll have English pods to your left and right, science labs to your left and right, and at the far end of the hall will be most of the math classes. Directly across from the main office in A building is B building, and in B building we have the gymnasium and the cafeteria. Let's go. As you first come in the doors to the cafeteria and gymnasium B building, the cafeteria will be to your right. Where they serve is to the extreme to your left, and the gymnasium is through the back doors. As you leave B building, you can walk down a hallway which connects to C building. In C building is the auditorium and arts and band. Directly across from C building is D building. D building is a 2-story building. On the bottom floor is an administrative office and special education classrooms, but you'll probably be going upstairs. Upstairs is a variety of different classrooms, history and so forth, but it also has Miss Kelly Hammond's computer classroom. Okay, students, that just about does it. A very quick tour of TC and the campus. And at any point in time, you don't know where you're at or you don't know where your classroom is, ask a teacher. Parents will also be trying to provide online maps and printed maps for your student before school starts. So students, we're glad you've chosen TC. We're proud to be your school, and we want to be here to make TC great.